Good evening, guys. If you're here on the call, please go ahead to drop a message on the Discord server so that we can have others join in. We already have our instructor for tonight on the call. Hi, Bidemi, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me, Amaka.
Thank you too for agreeing to do this. So, Bidemi is a product manager who works at Secure. So, it's a pleasure having you here, and we hope to learn a lot from you today. Thank you.
All right. So, thank you very much. Also, good evening to everyone. From wherever you are. So permit me to share my screen so that we can get right into it. Okay. Let me share my screen. Just give me a second.
I think it came up, then it went off.
Okay. Let me just do that again. All right. So can you see my screen?
Okay, just came back up.
Okay, great. So, good evening, everybody, once again. My name is Bidemi. I'm a product manager at Secure Intel, an IT consulting firm. So, I'm just going to give a brief description of my journey. So, I started in product management as a product manager in 2021, or let me say, I transitioned into tech in 2021, and I got the opportunity to work at a venture building firm. I worked with SaaS, I worked with prop tech products, and I got the opportunity to play around with NFT at some point. Then I went on to an ed tech. I went on to an ed tech where I was able to use a lot of analytical tools to really understand the features and just to raise adoption. And currently, I'm a product manager at Secure Intel. So let's get right into it. So this is the agenda for today. The first thing we'll be talking about is communication from a product manager's POV. The second thing we're talking about is the benefits of communication. The third will be streams of communication in product management. The fourth will be communication strategies for product managers. The fifth would be team participation from a product manager's point of view. The sixth would be benefits of team participation. The seventh, rather, sorry, that was a typo, would be strategies to boost team participation. And the eighth would be questions if you have any. So let's go. So, what is the job of a product manager? So the job of a product manager is to bring conviction and clarity to your team. Your job is centered around, telling people where you are going and why you are going there. You're basically holding the torch for them to where they're going. And as a product manager, you will spend a lot of your time talking to customers. You'll be talking to the internal, external team. You talk to stakeholders. You talk to everybody, and for this to happen, you will need to really harness the power of communication. Communication has to be your strong suit, both written and nonverbal. It has to be your strong suit. So, as a product manager, your communication again is your armor, and it needs to be very, very strong because what you're looking to create is a shared understanding of where you are going and why you are going there. So let's move. So why is communication important to product managers? There's several reasons, but I just highlighted four, and I'm just going to give an explanation on all of them. So the first one would be to have a better understanding of your product. As a product manager, like I said, your job is to bring clarity and conviction. And if you can get people to understand where you're going, you get there faster. You want to create a shared understanding and your team, because one thing I've come to realize in my interactions with people is that people understand things differently. So you want to be very sure that you understand the same thing, what you're doing, where you're going to, how you're going to get there, and when you are going to get there. Another reason why communication is important is that it helps you to manage the expectations of your team. If you're building, let me say, if you're building a product that has, like, supposed to have, like, let me say, two features, and you're expecting everybody on your team already has the understanding that we are building four features. I mean, everybody has different expectations already. So when you're communicating, both written and verbal, you are helping yourself manage the expectations of your team, and you're also helping everyone on your team manage their expectations, because everybody on the team is dependent on each other. Nobody is an island. The work that the UX designer will do depends, it ties back to what the front end and the back end guys will do. It ties back to sales. So everybody is managing their expectations on the team. Another reason why communication is important is that it is essential for collaboration. A team that is not talking cannot come together to do anything. So communication is very important because it is like the bedrock of collaboration, it's the bedrock of team participation, and this is something I will touch on later on. Um, Another reason why communication is important is that it helps you to build relationships. As a product manager, you will leverage on relationships both within your team, both outside your team, your industry, your network. You would leverage a lot on relationships, and it won't be nice if the only time you are going to, like, your engineer is when there is a bug. It sounds somehow. So you have to communication is important because it will help you to build meaningful relationships. Let's move. So we're talking now. The next thing we're talking about is the streams of communication in product management. Now, in product management, there are three different streams of communication, and I'm going to explain. And this is just the highlight. I'm going to explain each and every one of them in depth. The first one is the horizontal stream, which involves communication with your team, the vertical stream, which involves communication with the executives, the external, which involves communication with your customers. Now, the first one is the horizontal, and the horizontal it involves you communicating with your team. And as a product manager, this is the one that you will be employing the most. You will be talking to a lot of people. You'll be talking to the sales team. You'll be talking to the customer success. You'll be talking to the product marketing team. You'll be talking to your engineers, your designers, the UX researchers. And for this, you have to ensure that the information that you're giving them, or whatever it is that you're communicating to your team, it has to be clear. It has to be concise. Everybody needs to know what is going on. This is not the time where you start to withhold information, or you're scared to have a very tough conversation that might scatter everywhere. And this time you have to come out. If there's an issue, you come out, you communicate it immediately. Because if you're withholding information, or you're scared that, oh my god, well, what if I say this thing and everything just goes badly, it won't do anything. You will just find out that in the long run your product is not going to go anywhere. So for the horizontal communication stream, I would encourage you as a product manager to be clear, to be concise. Do not withhold information, because it is coming back to bite your product when you are done. So the next stream I'm going to be explaining is the vertical communication. This one has to do with communicating with your executive. Those are the higher ups, the CPO, that's the chief product officer, the CTO, the CEO, the CFO. And now these people, that's the executives, now they have a lot of things that they're working on. Trust me, because everybody from sales to customer success to even someone in the front desk is talking to them. They want their attention. And in the middle of all of that information, you want your product to at least, not even to at least, to ring a bell to them. You want your product to stand out to them. The information that you're giving them, that is the updates that you're giving them about your product, you want it to stand out to them. This is not the time for you to be writing long essays. If you want to write long essays, I would suggest you go back to the horizontal stream where you can communicate with your team. Here, the higher ups as executives, they need bite-sized digestible information, because what they are worried about is how your product is going to affect their responsibility and their key goals. It's not they are not interested in, oh, I have this amount of, I want to build this feature, I want to build this feature rather, and this is how my team is going to go about it. What they want is, I'm building feature X and it's going to generate 30,000 users by third quarter. That's what they want. Bite-sized, digestible, on the spot information. And I think with this, you also, with the vertical information, you also have to study who you're talking to, because it's not it's the same communication you will use for me for the CPO is different from what you use for your CTO. So that's that for the vertical stream. Now we'll move to the external stream. Now the external stream involves you talking to your customers. It involves you talking to your users. When you do the user survey, when you go outside, you talk to your customers, you talk to your potential customers, you ask them their pain points so that you can really, really understand what is going on. They can really, really understand what is going on. So for this, I would like to put something out there that don't let the cat out of the bag too soon. Don't say, oh, this is what we're building, and then at the end you fall short of it. It just does not speak well of you as a product manager. So when you're talking to your customers, you need to be very, very careful. You're talking to potential users, you need to be careful not to let the cat out of the bag fast, because when the product lands and is not giving what it's supposed to give, almost nobody is going to be happy. Yeah, so let's move. So I'd like to give some strategy that product managers can use to improve their communication both by with themselves and every other person on the team. So the first I would like to say is that you need to ensure that you are actively listening to people. When an engineer walks up to you, or a developer, or let me say a UX designer, they walk up to you and they're talking about like an issue that they are facing, that's not the time that you're saying you want to be checking what the email that sales sent to you. That's not the time. People want to know that you are listening to them, and to me, it means that you respect them, you respect their time. So ensure that you are actively listening to the person. You could use non-verbal cues like nodding your head from time to time, just to make sure that the person that you're talking to is aware that, oh, this person is listening to me. And I'd just like to give a pro tip. It's something that I use at work. When somebody says something to you, say it back to them, just to check if the both of you had the same thing. Because if you say A and me I'm hearing C, and I go back to do C, and I come back and tell you that, oh, I did C, and you tell me that, oh no, I want you to do A, time would have gone and I've just wasted my time doing the wrong thing. So when somebody is saying something, this is not even just about work, in your relationships with people, anywhere, when somebody says something to you, try your best to say it back to them so that you can be sure that the both of you have a shared understanding of what you're talking about. The next strategy will be to have a clear and concise, be clear and concise in your delivery. When you are writing, most especially, it's very easy to fall into technical jargon and just be writing and be going and be going. So you would need to be clear, you will need to be concise. For example, if I'm talking to sales, I'm not going to be bringing technical jargon into that. They are concerned about how they can come in to ensure that this product gets sold whenever it hits the market. People are using this product, people are buying the product and seeing the value from it. So you try your best to be clear, be concise in your delivery. Don't beat around the bush, just don't perambulate, go straight to the point, use easy to understand and digestible English. So the next strategy would be to tailor your communication to your target audience. Now, I think this works for most times the higher ups, that's the executives, because they have, like I said, they have a lot of things that they're thinking about. So you need to know like the person that you're talking to and the communication style that suits them or works for them the best. For example, if I'm talking to my CPO, if I send him an email, it's going to take some time for him to read it. And if I ask him sometime later, like, oh, how about this? Can I get an update with what I sent you? You might just be like, oh, let's jump on a call. Like that, you can pick up when so you can pick up someone's communication style just like that. For example, if you send an email, or let me say you send a Slack message to someone on your team and they didn't read it, and you're like, 1 day, 2 day, 3 days is going, and then you ask them for the update, they'll be like, oh, I didn't see it, can we jump on a call? They do it the first time, they do it the second time. That's how you can pick up on the fact that, oh, this is this person's communication style. You find, once you find that out, you just told that path. So the next would be mindful of your tone. You need to be mindful of your tone whenever someone is talking. Like I said, communication, sometimes there will be arguments, there will be disagreements on features, what you want to build. Engineering is telling you, we don't have the capacity to build this, and that's not the time for you to raise your voice and just make everywhere scatter. As a product manager, your goal, give me a second, please. So sorry. As a product manager, your goal is to make sure that everybody is coming together to do exactly what you want. So if there's an argument about like a feature, or somebody just talking to you anyhow with the team, you need to be mindful. Don't just react right there. You need to be mindful of the tone that you use to address disagreements. You can say, okay, maybe later you can go to the person and just tell them that you didn't like the way they spoke to you, and you guys can iron it out. And then the last tip would be that you request and provide feedback. That's like one of the major ways to grow as a product manager, and one of the major ways to grow your team. To make sure that everyone in your team is growing, you ensure that you provide feedback. If someone is, there's a way that someone is talking to you, there's a way that someone is writing a document that you don't like, you can provide feedback and be like, oh, this is the way I think you can actually write this document and make it better. And then also you request for it, because I feel like when you get feedback, you know where you're supposed to do better. So when you request for feedback and you get feedback, that's another strategy that you can use as a product manager to enhance or boost communication in your team. So the next thing we're going to talk about is team participation. Like I said, communication is one of the pillars of team participation. A team that is not talking is a team that is not working. If nobody is saying anything, nothing gets done. And a study showed that performance increased by 5 times due to team participation. When everybody is coming together, when people come together, they bring their expertise, their knowledge, their wealth of experience. There's a higher chance that whatever it is you're doing, whatever product you're building, you will deliver it better and in a more efficient way. Product teams that listen to each other, they are more likely to create high quality, usable products that reflect the real customer needs. If everybody on your team is coming together to work on a product, or to work on the product that you're building, there's a high chance that the value that you're going to give to your customer is going to be real. It's going to reflect the real customer needs, because everybody is, like I said, everybody is bringing from their wealth of experience, their knowledge, their expertise. So the chances of it getting better and being better is high. Why is team participation important to you and your team? Team participation is very important because it will enable you to solve problems better. We have this saying that we have, that two heads are better than one. If you are the only person building the product, you're the only person doing the engineering, you're just a one-man show. It the way you won't be able to, solve the problem as much as when it's like three, four people that come together to solve it. It gives you a better chance of solving the problem. For example, if you're going to, let's say, if let's just use let's use an analogy. If five people are on a boat and they are rowing the boat, and everybody is participating, they are going towards from point A to point B, because everybody is rowing the boat and everybody is putting the energy, they would get there faster. So the next reason why team participation is important is that it unlocks the possibility of innovation. When people come together, they're not just coming together because they want to come together. They're coming together because they have a common goal, and everybody is bringing what they have to the table. You have a higher chance of unlocking innovation if everybody in the team comes together. Then the next reason will be happy teams. A team that participates, that everybody's participating, that their voice is being heard, there's a high chance that they're happy. There is a high chance that they're going to be happy. So if everybody on your team is happy, just go ahead and participate. Around makes me feel seen. He empathizes, especially if you're like you're like an independent person and you now say, let me do product management, or more, you get burnt out very, very fast. So when everybody in the team is participating, they are bringing their energy. You have a team that you can rest on. You won't just be going it alone. So you run there's a reduced risk of you having burnout if you allow and foster participation in your team. So participation strategies for product managers. I have a few listed here, and I will be explaining how you can go about them. So the first one is to highlight people's strengths. If you have a UX researcher in your team, that makes it very, very easy for you to understand what the customer goes through, what your user goes through. You call them, you be like, oh, I really like the way you make it easy to identify the problems that we're going through. I like the way you employ your research skills. I enjoy the way you can bring a barrage of data and just make it make sense to me. Highlight their strength, let them know what they're doing well. Another thing that you can do is to foster open and honest communication. This one is very, very important because everybody wants to know that what they are saying is being heard. And you want to, as a product manager, you want to create a safe space. Make sure that everybody is being heard, their opinions, the features, the ideas they are bringing. It might not be that you will do it as at that time. It might be a later time. But everybody, people on the team want to know. They want to know that their voice is being heard. And saying you are creating a safe space, or yeah, that to foster, open and honest communication. It's not just by mouth. When somebody says something, you don't shut them down. It's by action. It's by action. Like people always say, action speaks louder than words. When someone is saying something on your team, you don't just shut them down because it's not part of the business goal. You listen to them. it creates a sense of, it creates this sense of, oh, she can actually hear me, this person is actually seeing me. You know the future down, and at a later day you can go back to it. It really boosts their confidence that at least this person is hearing me, my opinions matter. We might not be, building that future that I want now, but at least my opinion matters. The next thing would be to socialize with your team. This one is also important. It's not it's not until when you need something, or you need to fix a bug, or when there's a meeting that you guys are just meeting for the first time, and everybody's just like, who is this person, who's this product manager, she's just here to boss us around. No, you need to socialize with your team. There are times that when I first joined Secure Intel, I made it a point of duty to go to all the heads. I spoke with them, we talked, just what they are doing. They should just they told me what they were doing. They gave me tips on how to, navigate, my way in still. So aside from that, I reach out to my team from time to time. The first thing in the morning, every Monday, how are you? How did your weekend go? I'm not just so that creates like a soft landing for me when I want to ask them for something. It's not that I'm just barging in and I'm the CEO of the product, so you have to listen to me. No, it creates me building a relationship and socializing with my team. It creates a soft landing for me whenever I want to ask for something. If you are someone that is interested in football, you can just have bands from time to time, talk about your interests and all of that. It will, create this sense of togetherness. At least she's more interested in me than just what I do at the company. So that's another strategy that you can employ as a product manager. Another strategy that you can employ as a product manager to get people on your team to participate in whatever it is you're doing, whether you're building a product, stand-ups, is to celebrate wins. Celebrate wins. For example, when an engineer does something, or then when an engineer builds a feature on time, you can celebrate that. If you work remote, if you work remote, you can celebrate that on Slack. Let everybody clap for them. Let everybody be aware of their work. Don't just take all the credit that she was the one that did that. No, celebrate people's wins. When you celebrate their wins, they know at least that this person is seeing me. They'll be encouraged to want to do more. Work physical, or if you work on site, wise more than that. You need to constantly remind your team that this is where we're going, and this is the direction that we are taking together. Again, like I said, your job as a product manager is to bring clarity and conviction to whatever it is you're doing. From time to time, you need to remind your team that, oh, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going. For example, if morale is down, you can, call the team together, just have like a mini pizza party, stir everybody up, and remind them again of why you are doing what you're doing, what we're building. It reminds them that, okay, this is why we're doing what we're doing. And everybody, people that have scattered before, you use that to bring them back to the center. You use that to bring them back to the core from time to time. So I believe that that is all. So I will be taking any questions now if you have any. Hi, Amaka.
Hi, Bidemi.
Hi, hi, hi.
Okay. I think, yeah, we learned a lot. At least we learned about communicating and not living in isolation. And also, you're able to like make us understand why developers slash designers see product managers as being bossy because they don't communicate. This was very interesting. So, guys, if you have questions, please go ahead and drop your questions so that Bidemi can take your questions as well. While doing that, I'm going to drop her LinkedIn handle as well. So you can go ahead and connect with her on LinkedIn. Okay, so I have this question. It's being displayed on the screen. I don't know if you can see that, Bidemi.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can see okay. So what do you mean by reducing the risk of burnout? So burnout is when you've worked yourself so much to the point that you're never interested in what you're doing again. So when you everybody on your team is participating, it means they are carrying their weight. If everybody on the team is carrying their weight, you reduce the amount of work that you have to do as just one person, thereby reducing the risk of having burnouts. Do you understand my question? Do you understand my answer, Francis?
I think that should answer that question. Okay, this is well understood. So, guys, if you have questions, please go ahead and ask your question. You still have about 10 more minutes. So, yeah. Okay, Frances said, yes, I do now.
All right, great.
All right. So, I just, okay. So, the attendance form has been dropped. I'm getting Bidemi's LinkedIn handle so that I can also drop it as well. You can go ahead and connect with her on LinkedIn, and I'm also dropping it on the Discord server so you can connect with her as well. All right. Thank you so much, Bidemi, for being on the call. Thank you for explaining a lot around product managers, especially the communication and team participation. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much everyone for having me. Like Amaka said, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm not promising that I'll answer immediately, but I will definitely answer them when I can. Thank you so much to Top Universe. Thank you, Amaka, for this opportunity, and thank you to everyone that attended this call.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening ahead. And guys, I just dropped her handle on the Discord server, so do well to connect with her.
All
So
right.
have a
All right.
lovely night. Bye,
Yeah.
Bitemi.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, Duru, I'm just seeing your message. So possibly we can get to send that on LinkedIn as well. Should get that. Should answer that question. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a lovely night ahead.